I waited an hour to play the new Resident Evil demo for Resident Evil Requiem. Let's talk about my first ever experience going to Pax West. This was the first time I ever went, and I literally only went because I saw on my Instagram that Resident Evil posted, like the official Resident Evil account posted that they would be showing the demo at Pax West. I wasn't going to buy a Pax West ticket, or let's be real, I wasn't going to make my husband or my fiance buy the tickets. When I go to conventions, I like to kind of do something that's more, I like to do the whole days. I like to do all 4 days, or at least 3 days. And this time, I wasn't going to do this one because we didn't necessarily have the money to do all 4 days. I don't even know how much that would have been. That probably would have been like $400 for the both of us to go, which isn't too bad for a convention, but it's still pretty bad, and I just didn't want to like have to plan a whole 4-day trip just in a month, pretty much. I wanted to like prepare for this, I wanted to dress up, but Resident Evil decided to post the demo was going to be at Pax West, and I just kind of jumped the gun and we went on Sunday because those days were the cheapest. So he bought us 2 tickets for Pax West on Sunday. It was, I believe it was like $150 roughly. I'm going to talk about it and I'm going to do my makeup on the side while I talk about it. So let's start at the beginning. I woke up at 4 a.m. So ticket pickup I believe was 8 a.m. or 7 a.m. I have no idea why their ticket pickup is so early, but I wanted to be there first thing in the morning because if you know anything about conventions, or from what I remember from conventions, by the way, the last convention I ever went to was in 2019, guys. So this was quite a jump and a difference for me than what I'm used to. But anyway, I wanted to be there first thing in the morning because I didn't want to stand in a line forever trying to get my badges because I have no idea how long PAX badge pickup lines get because it is just very easy, quick, and just show the QR scanner and they pick it up, right? And you pick it up. But I didn't know what to expect. I know for like SakuraCon, I don't even know if that's still a convention, but if it is, I know that line gets pretty freaking long to pick up your badges. So, woke up at 4 in the morning, wanted to be the first thing at 7, I believe. I did not dress up for this convention because I haven't been to a convention since 2019. I also have a social phobia, so if any of you guys know what it's like dealing with a social phobia, you just get super overstimulated in large crowds like PAX. And I didn't want to be all dressed up and then just like, I wanted to be comfortable, especially because this was the first time I ever went. And so I did not dress up. I actually wore this, I actually wore this Postal 2 shirt that I got from Running with Scissors. So that's what I wore. And then I also wore my Postal badge, and I'll show you my badge. So this is my Postal lanyard that I got for free. They like gave it to me as a gift when I bought the shirt. I think it was when I bought the shirt, or no, it was when I bought the dolls. And then also this is just what the little badge looks like. So that is what I wore to PAX, and then I just didn't put any makeup on because I did not want to walk for hours in makeup. Okay, oh, my hands are sticky now. I showed up at the ferry terminal at like, I don't even know, I think 6. Oh yeah, I thought that I was going to take the 6 o'clock ferry. Turns out I got my times wrong and it was actually a 6:20 ferry, so we ended up having to like sit in the terminal for like 40 minutes with no coffee because there used to be a Starbucks by the ferry terminal, and then now I guess there isn't, and the coffee shop that it got replaced with was closed. So I got no coffee. I also got no food yet. My plan was literally to pick up some coffee and get something to eat, and that was going to be my breakfast, but now we're already at a bad start. So we get on the 6:20 ferry. We ended up buying food on the ferry, which don't do that. It's so expensive, but we were really hungry and also we needed coffee. And it was like $32, guys. And what we got, we literally only got 2 like little glass Starbucks drinks and then like a snack box that had grapes, almonds that we didn't even eat because they were gross, and cheese, like little blocks of pepper jack cheese and then cheddar cheese, and then we got 2 Uncrustables, and all of that was $32, which is just crazy. Like, you can go out to eat with that money. But you know, it's kind of like vacation. Like, it's just, you're going out to have fun, so we were just like, whatever, just buy it. So we sit on the ferry, we eat our food, whatever. So now we start walking over to the convention center. We just walked. It's really not that far from the ferry terminal that we took. I've walked there before when I was super young, like I said, in 2019. I've done it before. You can do it. Do I recommend doing it? No. You could probably take an Uber.
I'm your Uber driver. Get in.
Or they also have those like city bike, like those city scooters that you can ride. But I don't trust those, and they're also really disgusting, especially in Seattle. So we just walked uphill for like, it said it was going to be, I think, a 25-minute walk. It didn't really feel like 25 minutes. We walked pretty quickly there. So walking in Seattle is, especially if you're like kind of from Seattle, not awesome. It stinks really bad, like pee everywhere. But when you're walking that early in Seattle, it is fairly nice because most of the postal dudes, I don't know what to say that isn't considered offensive, and I don't want to offend anyone, but if you know the kind of people in Seattle, you know, most of the aggressive homeless people, they're not out in the morning, so the walk there was actually pretty nice. There wasn't that much people like bothering you or like people getting all up close to you and being weird, right? When we got there, there was already a line forming to get your badges, but it really wasn't that long. Everyone there, I just want to say, all the staff and everyone there was super cool, super nice. Probably the nicest staff that I have ever interacted with when it comes to a convention. I don't know if it's just because they're all gamers and we're all just chill, but they were super nice. So we waited in line. The guy just told us like what to do. I had really no clue where to go, but I will say that the way that they mapped everything out and the way that those signs were that told you like what building was what really helped. Me and my partner only got lost like one time, and it was just because I messed up the map and I thought that the Resident Evil demo was in a different building when it was in the main building. So we ended up like walking around the convention center an extra time, that even though we really didn't need to, but you know, it's fine, whatever. We got in line to get our badges. We go in to get our badges. Everyone was chill, super nice. There was like no line because we were one of the first few people, and we got our badges. After you get your badges, you can go to the main building and go through security. Let me take a sip of this coffee. Security there was also really chill. It was not as intense as security at Comic-Con. I don't know if it's just because we weren't dressing up, but you kind of just walk through a metal detector and that's it. I think if you dress up though and you have like fake weapons, they probably do check them. I would assume, right? So but we weren't dressed up, so we just went through the metal detector and everything was fine. So we got into the convention center at like maybe 8-ish. But here's the kicker. So we go into the 4th floor. We go to the floor where the demos all are, all the game demos. I just got this Fenty Beauty highlighter, or like body glitter or whatever. So we go to the demos. Guys, next time, if I go again, I'm just saying this now, I don't think I'm going to show up that early, because I'm telling you now, it does not matter. Like, if you're thinking about going to PAX and you're like, I need to go super early. I need to be there to get all the demos, whatever, to get in line first, right? It does not matter how early you get to PAX. There is still going to be a line for whatever demo you want, especially if it's a highly anticipated game. If it's just some indie game that you want to play, then I'm sure the line will not be that bad first thing in the morning, but this was Sunday. Do keep in mind though that Labor Day was the next day, so a lot of people had that day off, so Sunday was still pretty busy and probably more busy than it normally is. It does not matter how early you get to the convention, because I'm telling you, like, the doors were like here, and let's say the line starts going down from the doors. I was standing maybe like right here. I wasn't in the middle of the line and I wasn't in the end. I was fairly close to the front of the line. I was like right here, and I thought that I was not gonna have to wait in a long line when I went to the Resident Evil demo, because that was the first thing I was gonna do. I had an idea that the Resident Evil demo was going to be fairly popular. I did not think it was going to be as popular as I thought though. I don't know what it is about my head, but for some reason I still think that Resident Evil isn't as popular as it actually is. I think ever since Resident Evil 2 remake came out and ever since Biohazard came out, the fan base has just blown up, and it's no longer a small little community. The Resident Evil community is giant. We wait in line for what, 3 hours, I think, 3 to 4 hours until the convention center opens, and then they open the doors. It's a whole big like, woo, yay, whatever. And they open the doors and they tell everyone to walk to the demos that they want to go to. Do not run, walk to the demos. There were definitely some people running, and they were not telling people not to run. So there was that. People ran to the demos. There was a couple Nintendo stuff. I honestly thought everyone was going to be there for Nintendo. Boy, was I wrong. I don't know how bad the line was for Nintendo in the morning, but let me tell you about the line for Resident Evil. I very nicely walked to the demo because that's what they told everyone to do, is to walk. And by the time I got to the demo, the line was capped. Like literally right when I got to the demo. I don't know if I have it on video, but the second I got to the demo. How is the line capped? It was capped over here. The line was capped. I didn't even know that a line could get capped until that very moment. So I was not able to play the Resident Evil demo first thing in the morning, but I did, like, my fiance was literally like, you're gonna have to wait in the line for hours, like, I don't even know if it's worth it for you to do it, we should just do other things. I'm like, no, I specifically made you buy me this ticket so I could play the demo. I'm going to wait in line. We didn't know that the Borderlands 4 demo was gonna be there, so we actually did just do the Borderlands 4 demo. Something about me and my partner, we really like Borderlands. And I'll show everything that I got at PAX, by the way, at the end of this video. So we really like Borderlands. It's a... Oh, I should have put concealer on first, huh? I don't know. I don't really know the levels of doing makeup. So we just do the Borderlands 4 demo. it wasn't that the line for the Borderlands 4 demo first thing in the morning was not that bad, probably because everyone and their mom was at the Resident Evil demo. I really liked the demo. It was really fun. You only got 15 minutes to play it though, sadly, but the game is coming out really soon. So there is that. So I felt like I couldn't like really enjoy the game and like sit and like focus on the graphics or like the guns. It was purely just there to kind of like get a feel of the gameplay, but I did really like it. I know Borderlands is under some heat right now because of the dude, I don't even know his name. Either way, Borderlands has a very special place in my heart, especially with my fiance. So we played it. We played the demo. So after each also I forgot to mention, my fucking voice. I am not a active girly, okay? At 8 a.m., at 8 a.m. my leg was already in pain. One of my legs, my left leg. So we're already like uncomfortable and in pain at this point, which is not good. I walked by the Resident Evil booth to see if the line has opened up, because I am going to try to get in that line. If it's the last thing I do. It is still capped, so instead we kind of just walked around the whole expo hall. So my fiance's never been to a convention. He doesn't really understand the like the pain that you go through mentally every time you go to a convention, and how actually draining it is. And while we're walking around the demos, he's kind of starting to realize that waiting in these long lines, because dude, it gets full the second it hits 11. Like, there was no time in the morning where it is not busy. So we're walking around. He's getting like hungry at this point too. I'm bummed because I can't get into the Resident Evil demo, and we're just like kind of down. We're like, is this really what PAX is? It's just waiting in a line for hours just so you can like play a demo for like 15 minutes. Like, it just doesn't really seem that worth it to us. So we're just like walking around. We're trying to find something we can do that won't make us have to wait in line for anything longer than like 30 minutes, which is kind of impossible to do. So we ended up going to this like little area where they were selling cosplay ducks, which are like these little ducks. I'll show you the one that I got at the end of this video, but it's just like these little ducks as characters from like video games. And so I was like, ooh, I really want to see if they have the Leon one there. And they didn't, because apparently they sold out on the Leon one on day 1. My leg is hurting pretty bad at this point. My fiance's hungry, and it's not looking good. So we bought like the cosplay duck or whatever, and then we ended up like going off to the side, and I found this little like handheld farming sim game, and my fiance thought that there was a line for it when there wasn't. And so he was like looking for the line for it, and I just hopped on the console because there wasn't a line. I honestly, the only reason why I even touched this game, because I'm not really a cozy gamer, the only reason why I touched this game is because there was no line and there was a chair, and my leg hurt bad. So I sat down, and I barely played it. I just like looked around. I looked around for my fiance. He left me. Apparently, like, I asked him later, like, where the hell did you go? Why'd you leave me? And he said that he was looking for the line for that game, and then there wasn't one. So he left me, and while he was gone, I was like, you know what? Since he's gone from this area and I cannot find him, I'm just gonna go back to the Resident Evil line and see if it's cleared up by now or not, and see if I can get in line, because at this point it's just a game of showing up right at the right moment. And at this point, people, by the way, were lining up by the wall next to the line and just waiting by the wall for the line to open up again so they could all book it. to the line. I wasn't gonna be like that because I didn't even know if you were allowed to do that, and honestly, like, it's not that deep. So I went back over to the line after we bought the cosplay duck, and there was like very little room left in the line. I very nicely walked like close to the line because I was scared he was just gonna like turn the cap on and say the line was full, the guy that was like maintaining the line. And so I very nicely walked up to the line, and he was really sweet, and he was like, oh yeah, go ahead, go in line. And so I got in line, and then right when I got in line, he was like, actually, I'm gonna cap it now. So I was the last person in the line. He capped it right after me, and now I am sitting in line. Let me talk about my line experience. I am so happy I got in line. I don't care how long the wait is. In the back of my head, I was thinking like, oh shoot, what happens if I have to pee? I guess I'm peeing my pants because there is no way I'm getting out of this line. I cannot be on my phone this whole time because I did not bring my charger like an idiot. But I did end up texting my fiance, and I'm like, you will not believe it, but I got in line, and so like go do whatever you want to do, go like mess around, and I'm just gonna be in this line until I get in the demo. And they have like a little screen, I'll show you everything. They have like a little screen showing everything showing like all these different Capcom games. The line for the Resident Evil demo, I think I sat in it for an hour. When I was sitting in line, I was kind of just listening to everyone else's conversations because I had nothing else to do. And so some people, like as I was waiting in line, a lot of people would go up to the staff member that was holding the line is capped, and they would ask her like, when does the line open up again? How long is the line typically? Like, is it worth it? Whatever. She was telling them that they typically open up the line every 30 minutes, and the demo is 30 minutes long. So that's why the line was so long, is because the demo is actually a decent amount of time, and I'm gonna tell you like how I feel about the demo once I like get to that point. But the demo is actually fairly long, and so that's why the line was so long and like took forever, is because you're waiting 30 minutes each time for the line to move. I thought that was really cool though. I was happy that you got that long of a time to play. I'm gonna keep looking at my viewfinder, and I'm sorry if that bugs you, but my camera's about to die, so I need to like keep my eyes on it. I'm gonna be in this line for 2 hours. And that kind of sucked because it ended up making me late to a panel that I wanted to go watch, which it's fine, but we'll get to that when we get to that. So I sit in line, I talk to a couple people as I'm sitting in line, because even though I hate socializing with people, it is much more entertaining to talk to someone than it is to just sit and do nothing. So I talked to a couple people in line about just Resident Evil and video games. Everyone at PAX is super chill. It's also really easy to talk to people in lines. If you're a really sociable person, you would love this part of the convention, because it's so easy to talk to people there. You just ask them like, what kind of games do you like? And then you can just go on to go through a full conversation of just video games, because you all kind of have the same interest. And especially someone like me who plays pretty much everything, I can kind of talk to anyone about pretty much any game. And finally, I get in. And this is the part of the video where I'm going to talk about my experience playing the demo. I do not have footage of me playing the demo because you were not allowed to have any cameras or just any cameras. You could not film anything in there. They kept it super secretive. The demo was literally in like a box with like walls and everything, so you couldn't even see other people playing the game. It was really secretive. I don't know if it's because they just want the experience to feel more special and be more cool, but yeah, I didn't really know what to expect. At this point too, I avoided all, because the demo's been out for a couple months now, I avoided all spoilers for this demo this whole time because I wanted to experience it in full without seeing anything. So I'm going to talk about my experience playing the demo. While I talk about it, I will have footage on the screen from a YouTuber, I guess, or a company, I don't really know, to kind of show you what the demo was if you haven't somehow seen it already, but I'm sure everyone knows what the demo is by now. We walk into the demo. The room is styled to look exactly like the room that you start the demo in. It was really cool. So it had like this wallpaper on the sides, and there was also a furnace in the room, and it was like muggy in here. I don't know why, but they had a heater going on in that room, and I don't know if it was to make you feel like you were in the hotel where the game takes place, or if it was just to make you feel hot and sweaty, or to make you uncomfortable. I don't know. All I know is that it was to add an extra kind of flair, or I guess like an experience to playing the demo. It was not hot when I went in that room. I wouldn't say I was like dying, but if it was like a warm day outside, that would have been pretty uncomfortable to sit in for 30 minutes. I will say too that the demo that I played it on was not on PC. I wish it was, but it was on a PlayStation 4 or 5, right? Are we at PlayStation 5? I don't know. It was on the newest PlayStation. I've never played on a new PlayStation, so this was the first time I was also playing on a PlayStation. What stood out to me in the demo compared to other Resident Evil games? I think the biggest thing that I like about this demo, or about this new Resident Evil game, is that I like how dark it is. This monster likes to dwell in darkness, and it does really good in the dark. So your tool to survive and get away from this monster is by using light. You use a little lighter for your light, and something really cool about the monster is that it can actually break light bulbs. So it's not just as easy as turning on the lights, because the monster can just break those lights. It was a little bit stressful when I was playing the demo, because I want to finish this demo, right? Because I do not want to stand in line again for another hour. So I felt like I had to speed through the demo to make sure that I was able to finish it, and it was a little bit stressful when I couldn't see anything, especially because all the settings on the screen were like at the lowest to make it extra spooky. I just wanted to make sure that I found the puzzle pieces to continue on with the demo. Something cool about the demo is it's not just you walking around and looking at things. There is actual gameplay in it. There is no fighting, but there is puzzles, like any Resident Evil game should have. I have played every single Resident Evil game except for a couple of the OG, like old ones, but I've played all of the new gen ones, and I will say that this Resident Evil feels a lot like Resident Evil 2 Remake, and it looks a lot like the newest Resident Evil, like graphic-wise. Supposedly they used a whole new engine for this Resident Evil game. Honestly, I couldn't really tell much of a difference. Maybe it's because I wasn't playing it on PC and I was playing it on a console, and I'm being a little bit picky, because I just don't think console graphics look that good. I know the PlayStation 5 is like godly for some people, but to me, I know it would look so much better on a really good PC. So I think the graphics just look like the newest game, and I also think the gameplay felt so much like Resident Evil 2 Remake, which is, I think a lot of people are going to like that, because a lot of people like Resident Evil 2 Remake. We have a little bit of a setting change because my camera died and I had to charge it. Let's talk about creepiest moments for this demo. Was it scary? How was it? Resident Evil has kind of leaned into more of the it's leaned more to be scary than it has a puzzle, survival, horror kind of game. I feel like the old games, there were jump scares, but it wasn't as intense as it is now. The demo's scary, especially for people who don't typically play a lot of scary games, or they're just easily scared. This game is scary, and it's going to be very scary. When I was in the demo room, there were literally people yelling from getting scared. There were people like being like, "Oh my god," and there were people jumping and gasping from the jump scares in the demo. There was quite a few, but honestly, that is not what scared me. The jump scares didn't get me personally. I don't know if it's just because I was in a room like full of people, so I didn't want people to see me get scared. Also, your headphones aren't really that loud. They make sure that your headphones, you can still kind of hear what's happening around you, so then when the demo's done, you can hear them say, hey, get off. I did get a little bit of a jump scare at one of the parts in the demo. I think there is like a jolt of thunder or something. It was just a noise. It wasn't the monster itself that scared me, but there was a noise, and I did I did jump a little bit. But other than that, like, I personally didn't get that scared. I love the monster. The monster is very, very scary looking, very creepy. I don't know what it is about spooky games, but they are cozy to me. This game is going to be one of those cozy, spooky games. If you can play it laying down, I feel like this game's just going to be amazing for you. I am definitely going to be playing it at my setup, but something I noticed when I was playing the demo is you can hear the rain in the background in the demo, like those rain noises in the background of the game. I love that, and it just made me feel cozy. I didn't really feel scared. I felt like cozy while I was playing it. The only things that stood out to me that was something new that I noticed not the other games had, it seems like the game is going to revolve around a lot of darkness and using that lighter as your source of light. I don't know if maybe later on in the game you get a flashlight. I hope not. I hope the whole game is you using that lighter. You kind of sneak around a lot in the new Resident Evil Village and Biohazard. There is that. So I think they're kind of using the lack of knowing how to fight into this game too, because Ethan wasn't really a big fighter in the beginning at least, and Grace definitely isn't. When I was watching the panel at PAX, they did do a Capcom panel, and they did talk a little bit about Resident Evil, and I did go to that. Even the devs said that Grace, she does know her way around a gun, but she's not really a fighter. She's not an agent or like a cop like Leon or Jill. She's completely different. And even in the demo, when you play in third person, I wasn't able to play in third person because I used up all my time playing in first person. But if you play in third person, you see her like jump, and she's actually a really big scaredy cat. Like you can hear her breath hitch, and she's like shaking, and she just seems really scared, and I think that makes her character really unique. This game, everyone's gonna love it. OG Resident Evil fans are gonna love this. Definitely new fans. I feel like this game is going to bring even more new players into Resident Evil, which Resident Evil already is a huge community, but I feel like now even more people are going to play it. The devs have said themselves that you can pick up this game without any prior knowledge of any other Resident Evil games. I was a little bit bummed out about that because I personally like really lore-rich Resident Evil games because I know all of the lore in it, and so it felt like don't get me wrong, I really liked 7 and I really liked Village, or Biohazard and Village, but I also really like it when I'm getting Umbrella vibes, OG Resident Evil vibes, you know, the mansion, stuff like that. So, was it worth me sitting in a line for an hour to play this demo? 100%. I'm pretty sure they'll release the demo like they did with Resident Evil 4. I don't know if you remember, but when the remake came for that, they did a combat demo, so you can kind of get a feel of what the combat was going to look like. So I do expect them to do that. The only thing that I have to critique the demo and how this new game is going to be is I don't know what I was expecting, but I definitely wasn't expecting like a Biohazard redone game, if that makes sense. Like, I wasn't expecting it to be like Biohazard. I wasn't expecting it to be like Village. I guess because we're going back to RPD, I expected it to be more like the old games, and it doesn't seem like it's going to be like that. It is a lot like Resident Evil 2 Remake. Those are the vibes that I got a lot from it. So, I don't know. We'll see. Resident Evil is probably my favorite game ever. I don't even remember what the first Resident Evil game is that I played. I think it was Revelations. As you can tell from my setup. If you haven't seen it, I have a whole video showing my entire setup. But I love Resident Evil. Resident Evil is just, it's just a great game. I love that there's a lot of games to it. There's a lot of lore. The fans are great. There's lore that even the community makes themselves. I love Resident Evil. No matter what, I was going to play that demo, and I got my hands on the demo, and I am so happy that I was able to play it. Real quick, let me show you what I got at PAX. I didn't really get that much, so we'll just run through what I got. One of the things I got was this Resident Evil pin for playing the game, the demo. This is really cool and unique. I don't even know if they will ever like sell this on the Capcom store or whatever. I don't really know how Resident Evil merch is sold because I feel like it's really hard to get any official merch. I'm gonna keep this close to me forever because it just shows and will always remind me of when this game came out and how long I waited in line just to play the demo, and just this pin already has a lot of memories attached to it, and it's going to forever have those memories. So I did get this really cool pin. And then I also got this cosplay duck. I got this cute Claire one. She has her cute little jacket and her hair and her gun. Very cute. I wanted the Leon one, but I will take Claire. And she just sits on my setup now with my pen. And then I also got, so for playing the Borderlands demo, you got this cool little Borderlands mask. I believe you can also get this by pre-ordering Borderlands on at what the heck is it called? GameStop? Yeah, at GameStop you can get one too. I think I saw something about that. And then also really cool is they gave us free Borderlands poster for playing the demo. So yeah, that was really cool. And then I also want to real quick talk about what else I did at PAX. After I played the demo, it was like 1 o'clock and Capcom was doing a panel that is on YouTube, so if you do want to watch that, go ahead. There's really not anything in there that that like stood out to me. I only went to this panel to watch the stuff about Resident Evil, but it was perfect because right when I sat down, that's when they started talking about Resident Evil. And there really wasn't much new information at this panel. I thought they would maybe show like cool stuff that's in the game at this panel, but it was really just about like what the game is about, pretty much. Just stuff that we as a community already kind of know. I also did watch them talk about that game with the little girl on the guy's back. I don't remember what it's called, but they did show gameplay of that, and there was a demo at PAX for it, and like I said, I wanted to play it, but I didn't. I also really wanted to play Little Nightmares 3, I believe they had a demo there, and they also had Switch 2s there, and the new Legend of Zelda, I think. I didn't even know there was a new one coming out. And then the new Pokemon. I wanted to try all of those, but I was not going to stand in line just for those. The Switch lines, guys, oh my god. I knew the Switch lines were going to be long because a lot of people liked the Switch and a Nintendo, but they were long and I was not going to sit in them. After we did the panel, Bane also did the Borderlands Rage Room where you smash things. I will put the clip in here. He requested me to put really cool rock music in the background, so I will do that. So here is the Rage Room. that was completely free, by the way. You just had to wait in line. I think the line took my fiance like 45 minutes. It wasn't that long, but it was kind of long. By the time I was done doing my Resident Evil demo, I went back to him to see how he was doing, and he was like next in line. Quick little story time. There was actually a kid right in front of him that was about to go on, and he didn't know he had to be 18 and older to do it, and they ended up kicking him out, and it was really sad because he waited in line that whole time just to be kicked out. So that was really sad. Oh, and then after all of that, we were very tired. It was like 3 p.m. by now, and we haven't really eaten anything. We had some chips, and that was it. And then my partner wanted to go to this Borderlands themed bar that was at PAX. It was on the rooftop. It was really cute up there. It wasn't really Borderlands themed, but I guess you could play on the PCs and play Borderlands on it if you wanted to, but we didn't. We just went up there. He ordered 1 beer. We sat down. He drank. We like relaxed. My leg was dying, and we talked, and I was like, dude, I'm tired, you're tired, we're hungry. There's like nothing here for us to eat because we're vegetarian. Why don't we just go home? My leg hurts. We'll eat like Red Robin or something, and then we'll just go home because I'm like dead tired. And he only got 2 hours of sleep that night too, because he decided to stay up all night playing video games, and so he was exhausted too. We left. I don't know what was happening in Seattle that day, but by now all the aggressive homeless people were outside, so we just had to avoid them. Like I said, I don't know what was happening in Seattle. I don't know if it was because Labor Day weekend or what, but it was packed. It was packed at Pike Place. It's always packed at Pike Place, but like it was like really packed that day. I honestly have no idea why. I don't know if a little event was happening or what, but everyone was there. I even had friends that I know in real life that were there, and they weren't there for PAX. They were just there at Pike Place. So I have no clue what was happening, but it was crazy busy. Me and my fiance, we must have like dodged the rush because everyone was starting to come into Seattle, not leave Seattle yet. So we left before all of those people and everyone at PAX was gonna start to leave, thank God. Hi, Queen.
I hate homeless people.
But yeah, then we went home, we ate some Red Robin, and we went back to our little studio, and I went to bed. Pretty much just went to bed for the rest of the night, and we got home at like 8 p.m., which is pretty good for adults. Like, I don't like being out that late anymore now that I'm older. Being home by 8 p.m. after such a long day like that was amazing. Thank you so much for listening to my story time about PAX. This is just the start of the kind of content that I want to actually make. I, like, a few days ago sat down and I started thinking about like what I actually want my channel to be. I kind of go through these thought processes a lot because I just don't know what I want to make, and sometimes I'm like, well, I want to make gaming content, but then I don't, because I like making like vlogs and stuff like that, and I want people to watch my channel for my personality and not so much for the games. I was like, you know what, I want to start doing like gaming vlog kind of content. So this is the start of me doing that. Next week I just want to make a what's it like in my spooky lifestyle kind of video where I'm just taking you along throughout my day on what I do and what I like to do with my time. So if you liked this video and if that also sounds interesting, please subscribe. I'm going to still be making spooky gaming content, but I also want to add in some vlogs and just make like cozy gaming content. I don't really know how to explain it, but spooky cozy, not really cozy because we were not like relaxing here, but I want it to be like cutesy. Anyway, if any of you went to PAX West and you had a favorite demo that you got to play, please let me know in the comments. Or have you tried the Resident Evil demo yet? If you have, let me know what you think about it, and if you haven't, what do you still think about it? Because there is demo footage out now for the public. Once again, thank you for watching and bye.